Hi Conway, so I'm looking at your animation here at your latest blocking. I think the first part up to until about 66 or so is looking nicer. It works better. And then, however, I don't know what's going on anymore in here. This whole section with this jump is very unclear to me. And in real life, you cannot do a jump like this without first having an anticipation and then having a kickoff pose and then the up pose. And here you go straight from this kind of pose that I don't know exactly what it is. Looks half the way through an anticipation and a kickoff. But if I look at it from the top, you're moving sideways. And I think you're moving sideways because you're animating from the camera. I think that's the problem there. You're animating from camera probably. We don't animate this kind of stuff from camera. It's just too difficult. So if your character is meant to be moving forward, then you should be moving it forward. Instead, what you're doing in here, from the top view, you're moving it right and then left again. And I don't know why this would be the case. I just don't understand what's going on here. So maybe there's some explanation that you can give me because maybe I'm misinterpreting this. But I think that the problem in here is that you may be animating from camera. So to give us the impression that the character is moving forward, you actually grab the character and you move it this way in camera, with the result that it moves sideways in 3D. With the result that if you were in a feature film movie, or in a visual effects movie, the shadows would show you that the character is moving sideways instead of forward, for instance. And you have now you have weird motion, and you find it difficult to troubleshoot because you're not moving physically. Now you have to fix things in the realm of guesswork, I guess. So I don't know. This motion here would need an anticipation. You would need a kickoff pose with at least the last foot is off or still on the ground. So the kickoff pose is the last pose before the foot leaves the ground. Then as you land down, you would need a breakdown to show us as you land down. The breakdown could be contact pose first and then the down. And here you go straight from up to down with everything, arms and legs and body. And if you ask me what's this pose about, I wouldn't know. Plus, I don't know why you would land to the left in here. I just don't understand that. Sorry. So and then you land to the left and then you move forward. It's just not very clear to me. I thought this motion when I first watched it and I just didn't check the small picture-in-picture boxes. I thought, well, it looks like it should be moving forward. I'm not quite sure it does. And then I checked the other views and I was like, yeah, of course. That's why I'm not quite sure. It's because it doesn't move forward, or rather, it does, but it does something like this kind of arc. It goes sideways, comes back, and once it's come back, it goes forward. This is very cluttery motion. You're going to have so many problems fixing this in spline. So that's a problem there. Then in here you're anticipating, and I think as you anticipate, you could raise the bum a bit more. And then my feedback from the last two sessions was, when you jump, lower the bum, raise the chest, so that this is the line of action. That was my feedback there. So I'm feeling that in this section feedback is not addressed, and this, I think, is starting to become an issue, because if you think of it, to address this feedback, it takes maybe 15 minutes, but to give this feedback and for you to receive it, it takes hours. So we are at a stage where the feedback process is taking longer than actually doing the job. So if you were in a company, this could be a major issue for your job, because it means that the supervisor takes longer to give you feedback than it takes you to do the job. So we are having a communication issue here, or you are having a technical problem. You need to decide what that thing is. If it's a technical issue, we can look into the Maya file, but I mean, maybe there's some very big problem with the rig, I don't know, but the feedback is lower the bum on this pose, raise the chest, make this line of action. That was the feedback. So in here, it's unclear why you haven't addressed it. It may be, as I said, a technical issue, in which case I'm happy to look into the Maya project, but I don't think it's a technical issue here. So there may be a communication or understanding issue there. But just to let you know, in production, if it takes longer for the supervisor to give you feedback than it does for you to do this, to address it, you have a problem. Because it means, so they are paying you to address feedback, but actually you're not, the time it takes you to do the feedback is time they pay in which feedback is not addressed, and it takes someone longer to explain you what's going on there, because someone is explaining it several times. So eventually a supervisor will get frustrated, and as a result, they may not trust you with the next valuable shot, so to speak. They will give you something a bit simpler because they're not sure if you have problems with the rig, with Maya, with animation, with understanding, with communication. So you either communicate a bit better there, or you just, I don't know, or you address the feedback, you just lower that bump. I don't know exactly here what would be the solution apart from just doing it, just lowering it. If it's a problem that the rig doesn't support it, as I said, fair enough. I just need to see the Maya file then, just to make sure that maybe there's something we can do about it, okay? So, because that's becoming the biggest problem of your animation here. So, and that means that as you jump, you will still have, this is the same exact feedback from the last time, you will still have the bump lower there, and it will give you a much nicer silhouette in here as well. And then you have this pose. I don't know what this pose is, I'm sorry. I look at the silhouette and this doesn't look like anything I've seen so far in this animation. I can make out more or less this, and I know it's an arm. Of course I know it's the same character, I'm not that silly, but I'm talking about being an audience, okay, in here. So this pose is super confusing, and it looks like the neck is broken up there. I just don't know what's going on there, I'm sorry. So, and then we have the landing there, which perhaps could work. It looks like this leg is broken. Don't you have a clavicle that you can lower here, that you can move a bit down there? I think you need a bit of a nicer pose, maybe with the legs a bit more open there, and maybe with one leg which is down in the contact pose and the other one which is still up here. Perhaps it could even be, I guess it could even be a pose with this leg doing the contact already, maybe a bit more to the center of the camera, and the other leg still being up, so that you will land with one leg first and the second one after. And it doesn't, I don't think it makes sense to have these legs that low already. I think they could still be a bit higher there, so that they would contact after the two front legs have landed. So you need a breakdown there in the middle. And I wouldn't spend time animating the camera for these 3 or 4 frames in here. I don't know what's going on. Let's fix the animation first. So that's about it. So I think you have a big issue there with the jump still, and the big issue is not probably technical, but it's more of a communication and feedback, addressing of feedback there. The rest is going in the right direction, apart from what I said earlier on, this section here, which is a bit unclear. So I would really try to address this jump feedback, because the jump is one of the core features of your animation. You want to make sure you try to get it right. Okay, that's the reasons why I keep on banging on that aspect. So that's it. Have fun. Bye bye.